All right. Ready to dive deep into some Neville Goddard.
Let's do it.
So we're looking at his 1964 lecture, Grace versus Law.
Buckle up.
Yeah, Neville, he doesn't really shy away from, some pretty mind-bending ideas
No, he does not.
about how reality works.
Exactly.
So how did he see these two forces, law and grace,
Yeah.
shaping our lives? I mean, are they rivals?
Well, he saw them more as partners, in our journey.
Okay, so let's start with law then.
Okay.
So in this lecture, Neville really dives deep into this law of identical harvest.
Yeah.
And, this is a big one for him.
Big one, yeah.
Our thoughts are seeds.
Our reality is the harvest.
But why did he believe this so strongly? I mean, it's more than just think positive.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
For Neville, it was deeply rooted in his understanding of consciousness,
Yeah.
He believed that our minds are not just receivers of reality. They're active creators of it.
Oh.
Every thought, every feeling, it's like a seed that's being planted in the fertile ground of consciousness.
Okay.
And that shapes the world around us.
So if we take that literally then, does that mean that we're also responsible then for the not so great stuff
Yeah.
that happens? I mean, does free will even exist?
Yeah. That's where things get really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Neville believed that while we have the power to shape our reality, there's also a larger divine plan unfolding.
Okay.
And he uses this example of, desiring a journey,
Okay.
even if it seems impossible,
Right.
by mentally assuming you're already there.
Yeah.
You can set events in motion.
So he talks about this reshuffling of events happening.
Right.
Almost like the universe is conspiring to make it happen.
Yeah.
But what I find fascinating is the risk he mentions.
Right.
If we can manifest our desires, I mean, couldn't we also accidentally manifest, things that we don't want by dwelling on negative thoughts?
Exactly. That's why Neville really emphasizes, being mindful of our thoughts. It's like, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
It's this creative power that we have. We're constantly creating, whether we're conscious of it or not.
Wow.
But what about those times when we feel powerless? Like we're not in control of our reality.
Right.
That's where Neville introduces this concept of grace.
Okay, so grace comes in.
Yeah.
But what exactly is grace in Neville's world? Is it just good luck?
It's so much deeper than that.
Okay.
Grace it's the divine gift.
Okay.
It's God's gift of himself to man.
Okay.
It's a complete and utter transformation.
Wow.
It's not something that you earn or achieve. Imagine it like this, no matter how skilled of a farmer you are, you can't force a seed to sprout.
Right.
You plant it, you nurture it, but the actual growth, it's a mystery. It's a gift.
And Neville experienced this firsthand.
Oh yeah.
He called it the second birth.
That's
Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. He describes this waking up in the tomb of his skull and experiencing like a self-birth.
Wow.
And encountering the Son of God within.
Really?
Yeah. And he outlines 3 stages of grace.
Okay.
And it's almost like this epic mystical journey.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he believed this awakening is available to everyone.
Okay.
Regardless of their past.
He was adamant that no one is unsaved.
Yeah.
That everyone will receive this gift of grace. But if it's a gift, why does it seem like some people experience it and others don't? What about the timing of it all?
Even Neville admitted that he didn't know, why grace is bestowed when it is. He called it the mystery of election.
The mystery of election.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a divine timing at play that we may not fully grasp.
Okay.
So we have this law where our thoughts shape reality.
Yeah.
And this gift of grace leading to this spiritual awakening.
Right.
But what happens when things are rough?
Yeah.
When we experience hardship.
Yeah.
Neville also talks about disgrace.
Yeah. That's a heavy topic.
Yeah.
What exactly did he mean by disgrace?
Yeah.
Is it punishment for our bad thoughts, our bad actions?
Not quite.
Okay.
Neville saw disgrace as the absence of God's presence. Often felt as suffering or hardship.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Yeah.
A plant, it needs both sunshine and rain to thrive.
Okay.
And sometimes we need to go through, a period of darkness to fully appreciate the light.
He quotes Jeremiah.
Yeah.
The anger of the Lord will not turn back until he has executed and accomplished the intents of his mind. That sounds pretty intense.
Right.
Is he saying then that difficult experiences are part of some divine plan?
That's the interesting thing about Neville.
Yeah.
He doesn't shy away from the from the hard questions.
Right.
He believed that even difficult experiences, the times that we feel furthest from God, are ultimately part of a journey towards something greater. It's not about blaming ourselves or others.
Right.
He emphasizes forgiveness of ourselves and others as as crucial during those times.
So even in the midst of what feels like disgrace, there's a deeper purpose at play.
Yeah.
It's about letting go of resentment.
Yeah.
And staying open to the possibility of something, of something good emerging.
Exactly. And this is where Neville starts to kind of, weave these two seemingly opposing forces together.
Yeah.
He doesn't see law and grace as contradictory, but as working in harmony.
So how does he see them working together? I mean, does mastering the law of identical harvest lead to this state of grace? Or are they totally separate paths?
That's what we'll uncover next.
Okay.
Get ready for a deep dive into how Neville saw these forces complementing each other.
Okay.
On our journey towards a more fulfilling life.
Okay, so we've kind of established that Neville saw both law and grace as these powerful forces, shaping our lives.
Yeah.
But how do they actually work together?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah, it's a fascinating dance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the law of identical harvest for a second.
Okay.
We talked about how our thoughts are seeds and our reality is the harvest, but what does that look like in practice?
Yeah.
Neville uses the example of desiring a journey even when it seems, impossible.
Right. Even if you can't see how it could possibly happen.
Right.
No money, no time, whatever the obstacle is.
Yeah.
If you mentally assume you're already there, things start to shift.
Yeah.
It's about more than just daydreaming.
Right.
It's about embodying that feeling of the wish fulfilled. But how do you apply that to, I don't know, more intangible desires?
Yeah.
Like financial security.
Right.
Or a deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah. The principle is the same.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on the lack of what you desire, shift your attention to the feeling of what it would be like to have it.
Okay.
How would you feel if you were financially secure? What would you do differently?
Okay.
Really, really dwell on that feeling.
So instead of obsessing over bills, you'd focus on the feeling of abundance,
right,
of generosity,
of
freedom. You're essentially creating this blueprint for your reality with your imagination. But what I find fascinating is that Neville doesn't just say, think it and you shall receive it.
Right.
He talks about this bridge of incidents forming.
Right.
Can you explain what he meant by that?
Yeah, it's those, seemingly random events that start happening, that nudge you kind of closer to your goal.
Okay.
Maybe you stumble across an opportunity that you never would have noticed before.
Right.
Or a conversation sparks a new idea.
Yeah.
These aren't just mere coincidences for Neville. They're the universe.
Okay.
Orchestrating events in response to your mental assumption.
So it's not about passive wishing.
Right.
It's about setting an intention and then actively engaging with the opportunities that present themselves.
Right.
But we also talked about the potential downsides of the law. What Neville called the risk.
Right.
What if we inadvertently manifest things that we don't want?
Right.
By, by focusing on negative thoughts.
Yeah. That's why Neville, he stresses the importance of vigilance.
Okay.
Remember that the law it's a neutral force. It doesn't judge your thoughts. It simply reflects them back to you in your reality. Right. If you find yourself, spiraling into fear or anxiety,
right,
consciously choose to shift your focus to something more positive and constructive?
It's a constant practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cultivating awareness of our thoughts and choosing to focus on what we want to create rather than, what we fear.
Right.
But let's bring grace back into the equation.
Okay.
We've talked about it being this divine gift of spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
How does that play out alongside the law?
That's the beautiful paradox that Neville presents. Even if you master the law of identical harvest,
right?
Even if you manifest all your desires, it won't automatically lead to the second birth.
Okay.
That experience of grace.
Okay.
It's a separate, unearned gift.
He describes it as being born from above.
Yeah.
I love how he compares it to our, to our physical birth.
Right.
We don't consciously choose to be born, right?
Right.
It just happens.
It just happens.
Similarly, we can't will ourselves into spiritual awakening.
Exactly.
Right.
And just like with physical birth, there's a process involved.
Okay.
Neville describes, his own experience with vivid imagery.
Yeah.
Waking up in the tomb of his skull, going through a self-birth, encountering the Son of God within. But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
He outlined 3 distinct stages of grace.
Oh, I'd love to hear more about these stages.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say grace is a gift, but what does that actually look like?
Right.
Unfolding in a person's life.
Well, the first stage is all about purification.
Okay.
It's often marked by challenges and hardships, things that force us to kind of, confront our shadows or limiting beliefs.
So even though it might feel like disgrace at the time,
right?
It's actually a necessary step in the process. It's like that rain that we were talking about earlier, washing away the dirt to make way for new growth.
Exactly.
Okay.
Then comes the second stage, illumination.
Okay.
This is where we start to experience, glimpses of our true nature, those aha moments where we feel connected to something greater than ourselves.
It's like the sun breaking through the clouds after a storm.
Right.
Okay. And then what's the third stage?
The third stage is union.
Okay.
Where we experience this complete merging with the divine, the realization that we are one with God.
That's a powerful concept.
Yeah.
But if this grace is given to everyone, then what's the point of even bothering with the law of identical harvest?
Okay.
Are they ultimately 2 separate paths?
Neville saw them as working in beautiful harmony.
Okay.
The law helps us navigate the physical world, create the experiences we desire, while grace elevates us to a higher spiritual plane.
So the law is like the toolbox that we use to build our dream house.
Okay.
And grace is the foundation upon which that house is built.
That's a great analogy. And Neville takes it a step further.
Okay.
He says that by imagining lovingly on behalf of others, by extending compassion and kindness,
right,
we're actually mediating God to man.
Great.
So we're not just using our thought power for personal gain.
Right.
We're becoming conduits of grace in the world by choosing to see the good in others.
Yeah.
By holding a vision of their highest potential, where we're actively participating in the unfolding of grace,
right,
both for ourselves and for those around us.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's a powerful reminder that our individual journeys are interconnected.
This is giving me so much to think about.
Yeah.
The idea that we can shape our reality with our thoughts, that we're all on this journey towards spiritual awakening, and that even our darkest moments can be part of a larger benevolent plan.
Yeah.
And it's truly mind-blowing. But before we get,
too lost in these cosmic contemplations, I think we need to pause, let all this sink in.
Agreed. When we return, we'll wrap up this deep dive by exploring how Neville saw these concepts playing out in the ultimate goal of union with God.
Okay, so we're back for the final part
Yeah.
of our deep dive into Neville Goddard's Grace versus Law.
It's been quite a journey.
We've covered a lot.
A lot of ground.
Yeah, how our thoughts create reality, the transformative power of grace, even how, challenges and hardships can be part of this divine plan.
Yeah. It's
a lot to process, but, I'm finding it incredibly hopeful.
Me too. There's this underlying optimism, in Neville's teachings, this belief that everything is ultimately working towards our highest good, even if we can't always see it in the moment.
And that's where forgiveness comes in, right? Neville talks about forgiving ourselves and others, not because they necessarily, deserve it,
right?
But because it frees us from the weight of resentment,
Right. It allows us to move forward on our spiritual journey without carrying that baggage.
Exactly. Forgiveness is like releasing those negative attachments and opening ourselves to the flow of grace.
Right. Remember, grace isn't something we earn.
Yeah.
It's a gift, freely given to everyone.
And this leads us to one of Neville's most powerful statements. Everyone will be saved. I mean, it's a bold claim.
It is.
But what do you think he meant by that?
Yeah, I used to think that it meant everyone would end up in some heavenly realm after death.
Right.
But now I see it differently. I think he was talking about this union with God that we've been discussing, this realization of our true nature, which he believed is the birthright of every human being.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't saying we have to be, perfect.
No.
Or achieve some level of saintliness to experience this. He acknowledged that we've all made mistakes.
Of course.
We've all played roles that we might not be proud of.
Yeah.
But God's love and mercy are bigger than all of that.
Yeah.
He said, no man in this world could live with himself if he could now bring back into memory the past. It's like he understood, the burden of guilt and shame that we carry.
Right.
And he offered this message of radical forgiveness and acceptance. But, if we're all destined for this union with God, this experience of grace, what does that say about our purpose here?
Right.
In this physical realm? Why are we even here?
Yeah, Neville believed that our purpose is to express God, to be a conduit for love and creativity in the world. He saw the law of identical harvest as a tool for us to co-create with God.
Right.
Using our thoughts and actions to bring about a more beautiful and harmonious reality.
So it's not about escaping from the world or waiting for some future salvation.
No.
It's about recognizing that heaven is within us. And by expressing that heaven in our thoughts, our words, our actions, we can transform our own lives, the lives of those around us.
Like we're all pieces of a divine puzzle. And when we come together in love and unity, we reveal the complete picture.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
And it's not about striving for perfection or becoming some kind of, saint. It's about embracing our humanity, with all its flaws and imperfections.
And recognizing the divine spark within us all.
It's about allowing ourselves to be transformed by grace.
Yeah.
And then sharing that grace with the world.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, a glimpse into the fascinating and often mind-bending world of Neville Goddard. We've explored how our thoughts create reality, the transformative power of grace, and the ultimate goal of union with God. I don't know about you, but I'm walking away from this deep dive, feeling both empowered and humbled.
It's been quite a journey. What struck me most is Neville's unwavering belief in the inherent goodness of the universe. Even those times of disgrace, as he called them, are ultimately part of a grander plan, leading to redemption. It really makes you rethink the nature of suffering and our place in the cosmos.
It certainly does. Now, we'd love to hear your takeaways
from this deep dive. What what resonated most with you? What new insights did you gain? Head over to our website or social media and share your thoughts.
Yeah, let's keep this conversation going.
Let's keep this conversation going. And as you continue to explore Neville's teachings, here's something to ponder.
Okay.
If our thoughts truly create reality, and if we are all destined for this union with God, what does that say about the nature of God itself?